Before we get started, Talk Music Talk has a newsletter, a weekly email featuring the current week's guests, plus what past guests are up to. Also, I'll tell you about shows I've attended and new music that I like. To sign up, head on over to talkmusictalk.com, click on the link, subscribe to newsletter, and you are all set. That's talkmusictalk.com. And now for today's episode. Hey. Boys here. Talk Music Talk is the podcast. I am the host, your podcasting host. Thank you for listening. Episode 126. Talk Music Talk is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long-form discussions with people who are connected to music from different genres and backgrounds. Creative people in the music business, singers, songwriters, music therapists, music journalists. And on episode 126, an amazing, exciting talent, Benny Oyama. Absolutely amazing. He was introduced to me by Amog Sharvit, who is the bassist of the jazz trio Kadawa, who I interviewed on episode number 82. Benny is a singer-songwriter based in Brooklyn, and he is putting his own spin on bossa nova music. Great conversation, covers a range of ideas, including his thoughts on his heritage. He is a fourth-generation Japanese-American Jew, how he is retaining his culture. We talk about meditation and how that's helping him with his creativity and also helped with his depression. He talks about being more disciplined, having an integrated life. He talks about all that. And of course, we talk about bossa nova music. As I mentioned, we discuss how he got into it and also his influence, the music's influence on his songwriting. After the conversation, you are in for a treat because you are going to hear 3 songs, a TMT exclusive mini set, Benny on guitar performing live just for you. 3 songs. The first song is called Untitled, then Autumn Blue, then Hazy River, right after the conversation. But here it is, without further ado, a wonderful conversation with Benny Oyama. Enjoy. Online, very little I could find about you.
Oh.
Because you're a mystery? Is that what it is, Benny?
Wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah. But I do know you're from New York, right?
That's right.
That's correct. What part of New York are you from?
Well, I was born in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. My first year of my life, I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I grew up in Brooklyn, and then the Bronx till I was 7 years old, and then from there, Long Island.
Okay.
New Hyde Park.
Okay.
Yeah, about 23 minutes out on the train, on the LIRR.
So what were I guess you probably wouldn't remember the 1-year-old, but the Bronx and Long Island? Mm-hmm. How was that like for you?
Bronx, I remember a lot of trees. North side of Bronx.
Okay.
Childhood, everything's kind of cool, you know. Mm-hmm. So my memory is somewhat scant, but I have some warm feelings from that time.
Okay.
We had a kind of a basement apartment off the highway in the Bronx. Yeah, I have warm memories from there, making sushi with my dad on the weekends and seeing the squirrels out the windows and so on. But it all seems so long ago.
Yeah.
You know? Then at about 7 years old, we moved out to Long Island, built a second story on top of my grandparents' house on my mother's side.
Okay, so you had your grandparents there too?
Mm-hmm.
Was that cool? I lived with my grandparents for a while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was interesting. Mm-hmm. It was interesting, you know. A multi-generational household.
Okay.
My grandparents are Reformed Jewish, you know. The temple is a very important part of their lives. So we were connected to a Jewish community in that way. And then there was my father, too. He also would sing in the choir at the temple. And he's Japanese American. So.
Okay. So you got best of both worlds, or a little of both?
I got. You know, it's. I love the multicultural experience and being in between the lines. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing I wish we had retained was the Japanese language, because after 4 generations of being Japanese American, we kind of lost it over time.
Okay.
You know, after however many years, things go missing. You know, like you can't find where you put your keys, and then whatever. You know. So,
where did the keys in the language go? It's like,
right, exactly.
do you have any language any part of it that you picked up, or you?
Yeah, my dad, retained like the names of food and greetings and certain phrases, and then I went back to study it when I was in college, and I'm still working on that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you want to get to like a proficiency where you can speak and read it?
One of my goals is to be fluent in Japanese. Yeah, part of me feels like I'm not going to feel complete unless I do that.
Okay.
It's almost like a redemptive thing, or getting back a piece of my heritage that was lost. Although there's also something to be said for letting go and accepting what you've been given. I'm an American, and I'm a fourth generation Japanese American. Yeah. Jew, and that's all cool, and the path is what it was. Japanese internment and the racism my grandparents experienced and so on. So yeah, but still, I do want to get it back. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was it like growing up with the two different cultures like that?
I think.
Because as a kid, at some point you don't know, and then at some point you become aware.
Yeah, I think I was aware that I was immersed in kind of a reform North Shore, Long Island Jewish community, and then there was my father's side of it. So the Japanese identity and cultural aspect felt a little bit isolated in a way, like it was a shadow of memory that I had to breathe life into, or find a way to breathe life into.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a bit of a clash at times in the household. I know my grandparents weren't disappointed that my mother married a Japanese American guy. They were disappointed she didn't marry a Jew.
Okay,
that was the only thing for them. But yeah, there was a lot that went unspoken, and I have so many questions now. So,
like what?
I want to know. I want to know more about my grandparents' past. I want to know more about what my father went through. He has Alzheimer's now, so my grandparents have both passed away.
Oh, okay.
So,
like you kind of lost that. Like
in a way, but now I have freedom to create my own, to pick up the unfinished work. Yeah, in a way.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting.
And any siblings?
I have an older sister.
Okay. And how much older? She lives
in Queens. She's 2 years older.
Oh, 2 years older.
I think 19 months is the
19 months, okay. And what about music? Like, when did that come into your life? Playing an instrument?
Oh, playing an instrument. I've always been singing. Bass guitar I picked up at 13. And I think it was because my friends were all starting to play instruments, and none of them were really playing bass. So I went for that one. Like, I had a friend playing guitar, I had a friend playing drums. Okay. So I went for that. Prior to that, I had done piano lessons, like when I was 5, I think, but I didn't really stick with it. And then after that, I got into guitar when I was 16. And it was mostly Django Reinhardt that inspired me. Okay. And the Beatles, of course.
And how would you have gotten into them?
I got into the Beatles when I found Abbey Road in my house, my mother's album. And it just blew my mind. Yeah.
And Django?
And Django, I got into him because there's a Beatles song called Wild Honey Pie. Yeah. And in an interview, John Lennon said he just improvised this Django Reinhardt solo, and it came out of him. He was so surprised. So I was like, who's this Django guy? Okay. So I checked him out and got into gypsy jazz.
Okay, excellent. And the singing part, like, what was that? You were just singing around the house? Or you like...
Yeah, I was always singing. My dad was a singer, too. He used to sing to me when I was in my mom's belly. And he grew up singing doo-wop and a cappella in Morningside Heights in the 1950s with his friends.
Really?
Finding the staircases that had the best sound, that kind of thing. And so I was always singing from when I was young, and then I got into musical theater. So I actually have that trajectory, too. I fell in love with, like, these old school plays like Guys and Dolls and 42nd Street. And then later, once I picked up an instrument, I was starting to get into jazz and rock and roll, folk music from the 1960s.
Okay, so were you doing like leads in plays? You do any leads?
Yeah.
What was the lead you did?
A lead? Well, I was like more of a supporting character.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I really enjoyed being Nicely Johnson in Guys and Dolls in middle school. And I went to a performing arts summer camp, and I was Billy in Little Wing, which was a dramatic role, which was fun. And I was also doing, let me think. Oh, in high school I was in, The Zoo Story.
Okay.
The Zoo Story. There's this 8-page monologue I had to memorize. It was really fun. Yeah. And then about 2 years ago, I kind of returned to the stage at the New York City Fringe Festival. We did a Super Mario Brothers musical called Jumpman, written by Sam Pitt-Stoller. And it was so much fun. My sister was Princess Peach, and I was Luigi. And we had an amazing Mario. It was a wonderful time.
Mm-hmm. Was this looking like you knew you wanted to do this as a career, music and theater and all that?
Being an actor was my dream.
Okay.
But then I found more of a deeper practice and deeper insight into music, and so that started to draw me in more. Like writing songs, performing in that way. I think I was more comfortable on stage as a actor, like in the theater, for a long time before I became comfortable on the stage as a musician. But it's something that I wanted because it felt like a deeper engagement in a way.
Because it was your own stuff that you were performing, or
because it was coming from a different place, I think.
And you started writing songs when?
When I was about 16 or 17.
And what were the songs like? Were they
back then?
Were they really bad, or were they Django influenced?
It's so subjective. Like, I have friends from high school that still are in love with those songs. Yeah, because it was that moment. For me, I'd be hard pressed to perform them again. The first one I wrote was called "Lack of Understanding." It was kind of a bossa nova style thing. Little did I know it was that a few years down the line I would be really submerging myself in bossa nova, like João Gilberto and Jorge Ben, Caetano Veloso, Os Mutantes. So it was kind of prophetic in that way. I would say a lot of those songs were prophetic because you're just kind of out of nothing trying to create, and it sets a certain precedent for your creative path in a way. So I was experimenting. Some touches of the Beatles, some jazz touches, some folk touches, some Simon and Garfunkel. And I'm kind of returning to those roots now too, in a fun way. But you mature over time, which is fun.
So how did you get into the bossa nova?
How did I get into it? I guess the biggest thing was when I was living in Beijing, 2007 to 2008, and I met a Brazilian musician there named Lucio. This guy was a total hustler, man. But it touched me. The rhythms touched me, and I started to get deeper into it and want to explore some more. So then I started listening to João Gilberto very heavily, transcribing what he was saying lyrically, and just writing down the sound so that I could replicate it without knowing how to do it, and just trying to get his guitar lines down. That all came later, though. But Beijing, I found myself doing a lot of bossa nova gigs. I just met these Brazilian musicians. Yeah.
And then you start writing in that style.
Then I started writing that style.
Okay. Is there something different that happens that has to take place to write with the bossa nova style than whatever you were previously doing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for one thing, I abandoned electric guitar, and I abandoned picks. So I went just finger style. I got into a car accident on the way to this gig. It's funny because this fire festival thing is blowing up right now. All these high expectations. And this gig I did in 2007, we were going to this island, and they showed us the brochure, and there was planes where you could parachute out of, and Ferris wheels, and all this different stuff going on. And we get there, and there's just these skeletal frames of steel houses being under construction. And we're on this fishing boat with the guy who's at the wheel, and he's smoking a cigarette, and the thing is rocking back and forth, and I'm there with my Gibson guitar case with my friend Jean-Sebastian Jiangsan. He's still in Beijing doing this thing. I think he just played a festival in Seoul. and the rain is pouring down, and then we come to this kind of hellish landscape that looked nothing like what they said it was going to look like. So that was just crazy. So everything went wrong on that gig. It was a really fun time. Looking back, I got into the car accident and the neck of my Gibson broke. So I decided to buy a nylon string. I guess that was the first transitional step in that direction.
Okay. So is that profound for you, the bossa nova music?
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
And what is it about that appeals to you?
I don't think it was profound for me at that time.
Okay.
But there came a point where I was kind of touch and go with it for long enough that I decided, like, all right, baby, I'm going to actually have a relationship with you. Like we're in this now, So,
but you were thinking something if you go from electric to nylon strings, like, right? What were you thinking?
It was more impulsive, man. Like,
okay,
I don't think I was thinking about too many things back then.
And did you miss the electric?
Man, I never thought about it. No, in a way, I felt like to start something new was like letting go of a burden in a way. Because I knew it wasn't quite for me. I was playing a Gibson ES-175, which is like a pretty standard jazz box.
Okay.
So I guess I kind of knew that I don't want to be a jazz guitarist. That's not my thing. I love jazz, and I love jazz guitar, but I'm searching for something else.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what it is, but, so then I made that transition.
And how did your songwriting change once you started writing more bossa nova stuff?
Definitely the rhythm changed because you get that rhythm in your spine, the bossa nova rhythm. And you get it in your body and it comes out that way. So it's definitely more inflected with that rhythmically. And I think my vocal approach has changed a lot too because of it. The Portuguese can be like kind of heavy and you play with the juxtaposition of the rhythm of the melody over that special rhythm in much different ways than you do in the other types of music I was doing before. So that has started to work on it in a really nice way, and I'm really enjoying it. It's like a new space.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have to learn Portuguese, or are you learning songs phonetically? Like, how are you doing that? I
was learning it phonetically for a while, and then I started to kind of study on my own. And in college, I was living with two Brazilian women, so that they started to teach me things. I started to learn. And then I went to Salvador da Bahia in the northeast of Brazil for 3 months, and I studied there. And I was actually practicing more capoeira at that time than doing music.
Okay.
Or sort of being a musician out in the world. Or I was always with my guitar, but it was more of a personal thing, kind of like I was absorbing in a way and just creating.
And what was bringing you to Salvador and Beijing?
Beijing, I had dropped out of music school. I had a scholarship to the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study jazz guitar, and I just wasn't there. It just wasn't my thing. So I dropped out. I didn't know what I was doing for a while, and I decided to buy a one-way ticket to Beijing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why Beijing?
I had been to China once before, and I had a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
I was also working in Flushing. I was learning some Chinese. And I just wanted to go and take a risk.
Yeah.
So I bought a one-way ticket. It's supposed to be 3 months. It turned into 14 months because I was just gigging. And at some point, more money was coming in from performing. I was like, okay.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
What does a one-way ticket say?
Yeah, exactly.
What is buying that say?
It's like... Sometimes you set yourself up for things and pretend, it's, I don't know. It's like,
were you thinking, I'm not coming back, or I don't care when I come back?
It's a similar thing as the guitar. It's like, if you're switching a nylon string guitar and you're playing bossa nova, you're probably setting yourself up on a certain track. But, I think a lot of decisions I've made as an artist have come from my gut.
Yeah.
And now I'm just starting to develop this kind of more intellectual or cerebral consciousness where I'm making decisions about it
instead of just
because I have more perspective.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And how long were you in school? Like, how far did you make it along?
I did graduate. But
you did? Okay.
Yeah, I ended up going to a different school, to Hampshire College.
Okay, so
it's
you
in
did
the same town.
Okay, so the first school, how long were you there?
A year.
Okay, and then you went to Beijing.
Went to Beijing. Then I went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I tried school again.
Okay.
And then for theater. It's been a very winding path. Sorry to warn you, this is not going to be a very linear conversation.
That's okay. And Chicago, how long were you at Chicago?
I was there a year. I was playing with a reggae band, the Roots Rockers Club, with my boy, Dane Fulton and Adam. And yeah, a lot of good people.
Yeah.
It was a good time. But it was another liminal space, you know. Then from there, I went to Hampshire College, and I finished up there. Studied political science, political philosophy, East Asian studies, studied some more Japanese, Chinese. And my last year, I was like, what do I want to do? Because you do an independent project for the last year. And I decided I was going to write a thesis about the globalization of capoeira, specifically capoeira Angola. And I got a grant to go to Bahia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what makes where am I going to go? There's a lot here.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
What?
It's my first time doing this for like a really long time.
No, you're doing good.
Okay.
So if you're at you got all the schooling together. You started off with music. Why didn't you finish up studying music, or you felt you didn't need to study music?
I guess the structure just put me off. I think I was also still learning how to not be depressed because I'd been depressed for years. So just when I got there, I was like, oh, they expect me to show up to class? Like a lot of the time? I was like, oh shit, this might not work.
Were you aware that you were depressed, or...
Yeah.
Just something was off.
Yeah,
weren't sure.
No. I was aware, but I just did not yet have the skills to get myself out of my head or out of my bed to go do the thing that was going to be enriching for me. And I'm okay with it, you know, because I'm okay getting my own education because it's mine. It doesn't need to look like everybody else's thing. It's taken me a long time to come to terms with that. And there are some skills that I feel like I'm developing now as a musician that I could have taken care of if I was doing it in university. But I'm also okay with that too.
Yeah.
You know.
How did you cope with the depression?
Meditation was probably one of the biggest things that helped me out of it, I think. And having a really great and loving mentor who gave me a lot over the years. Gave me a lot.
You went into the meditation for the reason to handle the depression, or was it you were already doing it?
I was taught that the meditation would allow me to create the space that I needed to not be so attached to my experience and to like be able to step back and just watch it go by and then comprehend it on a deeper level of detachment.
Got it.
And that became the wellspring for everything else. And I still think that meditation is the root of where music comes from, too, because it's that place of silence that allows the music to calm. So.
Did you take to the meditation immediately?
Yeah, I didn't have too much resistance. What I was taught by my mentor, Paul, was to sit down for 5 minutes and count my breaths up to 10. And once I got to 10, to start over. And if I lost count because my mind went somewhere, to start over. And then do that for 5 minutes every day for a week. Then the second week, you go up to 10 minutes. And then the third week, 15. And then there was a point where I was just in a deep practice, like doing 2 hours, like twice a day.
Yeah.
Because I guess I had some more time back then to do that during this point of my life. But that's
like Deepak Chopra meditation.
Yeah, but that's what I needed to do at that time.
Yeah,
that time was before I left for Beijing. And I had a very powerful experience, which I later, after recounting it to some people, found out was called a Kundalini Awakening, where this energy, the serpent at the base of your spine and in your root chakra, climbs up your spine and hits your head and comes out, and you have this kind of cosmic orgasm explosion. And after that, I felt peace for I think the first time I've ever felt it.
Really?
And that was kind of my formal opening to this gateway of what China was going to become for me.
Is that something you can only get from doing a longer practice?
I think it's rare for it to happen spontaneously, but there's a whole school of yoga called Kundalini yoga, Kundalini meditation that prepares you for that.
And this is something, do you have the mentor from the beginning when you started meditation?
Yeah. He's the one that taught me.
Okay. And the results were you felt less depressed and you could like cope?
I could see the depression and create a framework of language around it. And then from there I could then start to create this space that I needed to make music. Yeah.
And did the meditation lead to the, am I going to say it right, capoeira?
Capoeira. No, I think capoeira comes from maybe a different place. It's like well,
explain what it is.
Capoeira.
Yes.
Capoeira is the slaves' fight for freedom. So it's an art that developed by Central and West African slaves who came to Brazil via the transatlantic slave trade, and it's a mixture of African dances and fights. Basically, a slave's way of training his body and his spirit to conceal from his masters that he is learning how to practice a martial art, and the art of trickery, and how to conceal, and how to find the advantage as an underdog. Yeah.
And what did the practice started? Why? Why did you start?
I saw it in a park in Chicago. I saw two people doing it, and it was just like spark. I was like, wow, can I learn that? Yeah, we're having class Friday. All right, I'll be there. And I just went, and that's how it started. I showed up in my PJs. Everybody's all fit in their like slick outfits. I was like, yeah, so moving very awkward, but I became very devoted to it as a practice, and as a game, as a fight, as a way to improvise, as a way to train my body, and as a way to practice a certain form of seeing, a certain way of being, which relied heavily on, I would say, trickery. Yeah. Perhaps coming off of my experience in Beijing, trying to like survive as a musician, on my own without any institutional support, just kind of out there. And I would say in many ways I've moved past this kind of worldview, this perspective that I cultivated by engaging that practice and being in those circles. And I'm doing a lot more yoga right now. Much different thing.
Oh, yeah. Is the capoeira, so it's a form of exercise?
Yeah, it's a form of exercise. It's a fight that you do, you gather, you train, and it leads to an event called the Hoda, where you gather in a circle. And there's a strong musical element. You'll have about 7 people playing various traditional instruments. One of them is called the berimbau, ding 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 ding. The other one's a pandero, the other one's the heko heko. The other one's the agogo. Dung, 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 So they're all playing it, and there's an atabake, which is basically a conga, and they're all keeping this rhythm. And there's all these songs that are sung to start the Hoda, to end the Hoda, to make commentary what's happening in the Hoda. And you enter the Hoda to play with one other person, and they become your sparring partner. And you dance with them, you fight, the relationship shifts within, it's all improvised. You're not trying to hit them, you're trying to move them with your body, and put them in a position where they mess up themselves, basically. It's a very interesting game.
So that's the win, like if you can get them to...
Yeah, but it's all about who's more skillful in essence. Yeah, and so it rides in that ambiguous plane between dance and fight and game that you play together.
And how long were you doing that before you started the yoga?
Let me think. I guess I probably started 2008, so 7 years maybe. Yeah.
And the type of yoga you're doing?
Now I've been doing yin yoga
What's that?
That's a much slower. You hold the poses for a very long time. It's all about receiving and being more passive, doing more passive poses.
And what is doing all this? The yoga, meditation, capoeira. How does the capoeira? Why can't I say it?
Capoeira.
I'll just edit this out. Right? I edit out any mistakes I've made. Right. What is this all collectively? How is it? What is it doing for your music?
It's about being an integrated human being and developing my consciousness. The music is a byproduct of the consciousness. It's not Osho, this Indian guru Osho. He says music is not your meditation, or your art, whatever it is not your meditation. Meditation is your art. Meditation is your music.
And that affects you how?
It's this idea that the music is a byproduct of your consciousness, of your energy, of the place of depth you're able to reach, of your presence. How present can you be?
So don't start with the music. You're going to start with yourself and then go to. That'll lead you to the music.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. In a way. Yeah. It's about moving as many obstacles out of the way so the music can come. Because I've thought about this over the years, and I think as artists, you're more of a vessel, and you have to kind of allow that that thing to come to you. Yeah. And make sure that there's not too much of you in the way that's going to stifle it or shut it down.
And this allows you to be more creative, more productive?
It allows me, in a way. It allows me to get more of myself out of the way so that flow can just do its thing. So it's not about me doing, it's about sort of...
revealing?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Yeah, revealing something that's there, like a hidden spring or something. But because we have so much busyness and we want to do so many things, it's pressing that down. It's that damp earth that's just kind of sitting there waiting to be dug out so that the spring can flood and bring renewal and joy and happiness.
Got it.
Yeah.
And where are you now? You graduate from school, from college, finally. What are you going to do? What are you thinking of career and all that, music? What are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
Yeah. Did you know?
I'm certainly going to keep on writing music, and I'm certainly going to keep singing and performing.
Did you have an idea what you were going to do when you graduated? When did you graduate? How long ago was
this? 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 5 years ago. Shit.
Was there a plan?
Yeah, the plan was to move to New York and become a musician. So, check on that.
All done. You're good.
I feel like I'm just getting started in so many ways. The plan is to keep living and learning and just practice. I honestly think if I do it with the right intentions and the right focus, that everything else will be revealed, like you said. So I'll continue to perform and to write and record and hopefully continue to try new things out.
Because you have albums, right? Don't you have a few albums?
I have a few that I've released, like an album of home recordings called the B-Sides of Oyama. I have a live show I did at Hampshire College, which is called the Benny O Flow Show.
What is it, Benny
O Flow Show.
O Flow.
Just a live solo concert, because that's when I was pretty much just being a solo performer. There's a recording on SoundCloud of my trio, my bossa nova trio, Mambembe, at Banyan Studios in Williamsburg, a live recording from last April, which is really nice, and I really enjoy it, and we really enjoyed that show. We're doing a lot of classic bossa nova, like Aqualera do Brasil, songs by Chico Buarque and Tom Jobim, Vinicius de Moraes, and all these great things, and then also some original stuff. But more recordings are coming.
And what is or have the past 5 years been like as a musician?
As a musician,
Yeah.
a lot of letting go of things and learning to be more disciplined, and kind of making a switch from a focus on psychedelic rock to more of this bossa nova thing, and really learning the language. And
What do you think is there in the bossa nova?
what is there?
Yeah, what do you think there that you're looking for or trying to do with it? Get from it?
I think it's one of the music that speaks most directly to my heart, and I think I just had a very natural desire to want to understand it and play it from the inside, and not with the intention to become a great bossa nova musician, but with the intention to kind of, like what the Tropicalistas said in Brazil in the 1960s, was to eat it and like digest it and make it their own, make it my own, which is what they basically did with rock and roll during the Tropicalia movement. Everybody was anti-America, anti-imperialist, but they were like, well, no, let's eat this American music and digest it and make it our own, make it something Brazilian. So I'm kind of doing that, but eating their music from a generation before them, and then seeing how that then expresses itself on new music that I write.
How do you put your own spin on some genre of music that when you hear it, that's bossa nova? Like immediately you recognize that genre. Like put it on you. How do you put your spin on it to make it you?
Don't follow the conventions, but use the vocabulary in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
So I have like a lot of the chords, the chord vocabulary is what's naturally going to come out of my fingers when I sit down to write something. Then I can play with that, play from there, and play with the rhythms and make gestures towards a more authentic sound, and then go somewhere else with it. Yeah.
And what are some of the conventions of bossa nova? He's going to show us.
Yes. So we have so. That's one. And these rich chords.
Nice.
So we have, those rich chords, the melodies. Yes.
And then to switch that up, you would do what?
To switch it up, I might. Or I might do some more finger picking stuff. Should I play a song? No. Is it too early?
In a sec. No, but I like that. Those are nice.
Because I feel like the best way that would be to just
Okay.
put it on mine to explain it.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Okay.
So let's see. So recorded stuff, like you working on an album? Like, what's your intention coming up?
Yeah, I have an EP I've been having in the works. It's a collaboration with producer and composer Mikhail Seltenreich. So he's doing the strings for that. We have some great players on that, some original music. I just released a video of a song I wrote in Ito in Japan while I was staying in a mountain house there called Hazy River. And I'm going to be recording a video, producing a collaboration with a visual artist, Edith Nissenbaum, of a new song that I've just been writing. So I'm kind of, doing these things one at a time.
Good stuff to look forward to.
Yes.
Yeah. And best place online for people to keep up with you.
Oh, yes. Just come on to bennyoyama.com. You can find everything there.
Okay. Sounds good. So you ready?
All right.
We'll set up and then we'll do the music. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, I had a blast.
Yeah, same here, dude.
Thank you for doing this.
Sure.
You're the best.
Sunrise on a new spring day. I'm so down. Trotted. Tell me why do I feel this way when everything is beautiful? Do you still feel broken hearted? Tell me no. Smile when you lay your weary head to rest on my shoulder now. Do you still feel broken hearted? Tell me no. Autumn blue, your love comes right through. How you stand the cold, how you love the rain. Autumn blue, can you stand to love me too? Autumn blue, your love speaks in truths. Oh, you're godless too, bursting on the hills. Autumn blue, shower me in leaves forever. Autumn blue, I feel you on my skin, your softness well within. I shuffle through your gifts. Autumn blue, can you feel me moving through? Autumn blue, I'm changing from within and sweeping out the path and making sure it's clear. Autumn blue, help me leave my mind forever. Did you know you gave yourself away? We all felt your presence in the trees, and I smelled your perfume on the breeze. Autumn blue, red and yellow blue. Autumn blue, autumn blue. La 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 la. 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 Bury me in colors, and I'll wrap myself in rainbows. I'll be drowning in a tapestry till I'm breathing in the summer. Falling, 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 turning and tumbling with all of autumn's children. And maybe you and I will get away from the city for a while, and rake away the sadness that has kept the grass from growing, from growing, from growing, from growing. La 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 la. Thick as mine, no one asks you if you're fine. They think you're safe behind the walls, that you constructed in your mind. I wish that I could take you down the path to Hazy River, where the ground is strewn with insight, and I warm you with my body. You can hear the fog arising from the mouths of mountain sparrows you remembered in a past life. Remember mountain waters hold the gift of incarnation that you pressed into your notebook as we sat beside the river. You can tremble when I touch you. Have no fear, I'm not an angel. I'm the lonely river mountain passing through a sacred valley. And I'm wholly unaccustomed to your smile.
And there you have it, 3 gorgeous tracks from Benny Oyama, live just for you, the TMT listener. That was Hazy River, before that Autumn Blue, and the first song is so new that Benny has not even named it yet, so we're just going with Untitled for now. You are going to be hearing a lot from him. That is my prediction, so make sure you go to his website to keep up to date. Again, it is bennyoyama.com, BENNYOYAMA.com. I am online several places, several ways, talkmusictalk.com for more information on this podcast. Also, I have a personal website, which is thisisvoice.com. You can check out the music that I make and also read about the novels that I have written. And I am on Instagram and Twitter, so follow me at one or both places at thisisvoice. Voice is spelled BOICE. And I have a call to action for you. Download the new Talk Music Talk app. You get every single episode of the podcast. Plus, you can download episodes so you can listen to them offline. It is free for iPhone and Android, and you can get it wherever you like to get your apps regularly. Or you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Google Play. And if you are on iTunes, it is especially helpful if you could leave a rating and or review, because it helps spread the word and gets more people talking about Talk Music Talk. You can also find the podcast on Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Just search for Talk Music Talk. And finally, SoundCloud. The show is on SoundCloud, starting with episode 100. Just go to soundcloud.com/thisisvoice. And once you do one of those many things, I have a suggestion, a back catalog suggestion, episode number 82 with Kadawa. As I mentioned, the bassist, Amag Sharvit, introduced me to Benny. So check out the music that he makes with his band, Kadawa. They are an Israeli jazz trio based in New York. They make mind-expanding jazz, and you will hear 2 songs from their debut, plus a conversation with all 3 members. That's episode number 82 with Kadawa. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, and there will be a next time. This one's for you, Liz.